Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. I'm CT Falling Entropy, but you can just call me Entropy, and I welcome you to the 6th episode of my podcast, Cosmic Commentary. You already saw the title, you already know what I'm going to talk about today. I'll be talking about a feeling called SONDER. If you don't know what SONDER is, essentially it's just this phenomenon where you personally have this realization that everyone around you has a just as deep complex life as you. And I didn't actually even know the name of that feeling, that it was SONDER. I usually felt this when I was driving, when I was in the back of the car or driving, look at other people around me, and you wave at someone, you make eye contact, and in that small moments you do actually make a connection because you just interacted with another person, and then you gave a cue and they gave a response. But then you never see them again. I truly believe that is an instance where the word never can be used. The chances of you just ever coming face to face with that person is incredibly small. And unfortunately, it doesn't really need to be that way. The only reason that it is that way is because again, industrial America. I don't know how many times I'm gonna mention just industrial America, but it's just such a big aspect with just commercialization that affects so much, even our social culture. Because right now everyone's on this tight schedule where they need to be in a car going insanely fast to their next destination, and everyone's running 100 miles an hour. And because of that, you don't have the time to make personal connections. If you weren't in a car, if you weren't on the highway, if you were just walking along, maybe on a bike, the chances of you ending up talking with someone, the possibility you could even make like a friend if you were just walking instead. But it's just the demand for being faster, being more efficient, just completely overcasts any social aspects. I think about the difference in other countries where industrialism isn't that big, which is kind of ironic because America's exported all of their manufacturing anyway. But I think of Mexican households where in a conversation the amount of contact that you will probably end up making is incredibly high. Or if you compare other countries, like the general social culture of Russia, for example, I've heard that no one smiles there and it's always incredibly cloudy. So the emotional state's just very low. Or the German work culture where there's no socialization, it's only work. You are there to work and to solely just work. I can't even prove any of that. That's just things I've heard, things I've heard other people say about other social cultures. And there's such a removal here in America of social interaction. In other cultures, they have very niche things that they say to people based on what status they are, whether they're elderly, younger, married, not married. And you don't see that in America. That I always think it's funny, the quickest conversation that you can have with a person is probably, hi, hello, how are you? Good to hear, and then you split. But how do you even change that? How would you even go about changing that? Are they gone? Okay, I think I'm good. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, how do you go about changing that? Well, I don't think there is a way you can change that, but I believe, and I'm gonna give maybe a few things, just like personal things that I have found that help with a more personal connection. I have a story to go along with that. So I've worked a lot of customer service jobs, so I've interacted with just tons of people. I'm not really that good at remembering names or faces. So when I do feel the emotion of SONDER, it really hits for me personally. And when I worked at a hotel job, during my lunch break, I would go to the Subway and get lunch. And there was a kid there. He's probably like a year younger than me. I'm only 18, whatever. There's a kid there. He's probably a year younger than me. And I could tell he was definitely new, and I suddenly felt this compassion for this kid because I could see that he was kind of getting verbally pushed around by his employees. He was getting kind of yelled at in the back, and he was definitely a lot newer. I hadn't seen him there before. I'd already been to that Subway quite a few times, but even hit harder because I noticed while he was just making my sandwich, his tone is, his emotional state is just not there. You can tell he's just not happy. I'm just assuming he's just probably not in a good place, and I can see cuts all over his arms. And I just feel really bad for the kid. And I don't know who he is, but after like the third time of me seeing him and him making my sandwich for me, I just asked the kid, I'm like, hey, what's your name, by the way? And he tells me his name. I don't know if he'll ever watch this, if he'll ever find me. I think that would just be almost a miracle if he ever recognized me or found this podcast of me talking about him, if he recognizes that I am talking about him. Anyway, what I did was, in some circumstances, there are just situations where you will never be able to make a personal connection with someone just because of like barriers. They're scheduled, they're on the other side of this counter, that boy's just busy working, and I'm busy working too. So we're just industrial America against separating people socially. Now, instead, I did what I could. I got his name. I said thank you. I told him I'd keep him in my prayers. And when I got home that day, I started making a list of just names of people that I know I could never meet, but I know that I felt compassion for and understood that they themselves are an individual with their own struggles and their own life. And I have set a reminder. It will ring in the next 29 minutes. Just a notification that simply drops down and has a list of all these people's names. And it's incredibly humbling. It doesn't really do anything for the other person. It's very indirect, but it's a reminder for me personally that I live a life with other people who are also living just as much as a life that I am. In as much that I can't do anything for that other person, just for whatever circumstance, their name is just, every time I see it, floods back whatever interactions I had with them, whatever compassion that I had for them. And if they ever find out, it'd be kind of a gift. It'd be kind of a gift to find out that someone actually decided to remember you in whatever way. I know a lot of people who are not in a good emotional state are quite alone in their head, and they usually have severe depression and stuff like that. So it's not really helpful for the other person, but even to me, it's just humbling. And that's what I'm thinking I'm going to start suggesting to other people to start doing. Like, I already know the complexity of all my friends, my family, and all my loved ones. I already understand the complexity and the depth of their life because they're in mine. But other people, they'll never be in my life. And sometimes that's just really unfortunate because it just splits people, it divides people, where instead we could have better communication, better socialization, and just a better community overall. So, Caden, if you're watching this, I still remember you. You don't know me, I don't know you. But your sandwiches that you made for me were really good. Don't listen to what the other employees told you. Otherwise, I hope you do better, and I hope the rest of you also have a very good day, and I will see you in the next episode. I'm going to be posting this with a lot of other things. I have a ton of other songs that I'm just going to drop with this, because why not? They don't have vocals, I want to add vocals, but they're not going to have vocals, and I'm just going to post it anyway. So anyway, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.